The 666, relating to the video I did recently on Christmas lights and decorations, the digital system produces the 666. All the stuff that we have around us, um, most of it, I think, increasingly runs on a decimal digital system. That's the basis of all the electronics, isn't it? And of course, a 10 base system produces the 666 because as soon as you try to split 10 into 3, you get the 666 and the 333, both of which are considered to be magical runes or ciphers or to give powers. They are used in sorcery and in witchcraft, these sorts of concepts, because they provide access to or they are claimed to provide access to a separate realm. Because since the number cannot be resolved perfectly, it just continues ad infinitum. It's as though there's a fracture in the logical universe, and warlocks and witches use this, and the god of this world, I was going to say the prince of this world, Satan I refer to, of course, uses it for the purposes of spellcraft and magic, which are real things and can be done, although of course they can always be opposed by the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's why that name is so feared. But because I work in language, I see myself as standing at the very interface of this new era, which the sort of the golden dawn, the Crowleyan golden dawn, and where we see that digitalization is to be used is increasingly to build our reality. Because I receive a lot of texts which are machine translated these days, as customers begin to believe that a machine can do my job, just needs to be refined to the certain level, and so they will assume that having spent a certain amount of money on machine translation software or some license or something or other, something perhaps that they see as being more reliable than Google Translate, although it won't be. They send their documents pre-translated, pre-edited. The agencies have to somewhat bow before their demands for price reduction, and I get asked to do jobs that, to quite a lot less than my normal price, because they say, well, it's already more or less done. All you need to do is to clean it up and correct it. But because the way that a document or any kind of written literature is, because of its nature, it is the product of a sentient mind. It is the product of thinking and of consciousness. And the attempt by the digital 666 people, the enemies of Christ, to impose this digitalization on the world cannot succeed, you see, because what happens is a text is a logical sequence of ideas in the mind of the author, or a progression of ideas, or an exposition of ideas that has a beginning and an end, and it follows a journey, as it were, as it carries the reader through a series of actions or events or precepts or concepts. And so everything is interrelated. The first word is interrelated with the last. Now, not all authors are conscious of this. The more consciously it's written, of course, the more this will be true. But nonetheless, in my translation work, to do a good job, I have to consider the document as a whole, and translate it in that light. And the results of my translation will very often be quite different to the proposals made by artificial intelligence and machine translation. Very different, because I'm no longer translating. I'm no longer addressing words as though they were units of, as though they were goods, countable goods that could be somehow synthesized, but I'm translating them as in a far more nuanced and complex way, and acknowledging the one true living God as the source of the word. And so to produce a translation, that's what has to be done. And it's interesting now because, of course, as customers are insisting more and more on cut price translations because they want to use their digital technology, I think what's happening is that some translators, shall we say, capable of really producing a decent translation, are increasingly reluctant to work in that field. And so those translations might get handed to less experienced and less scrupulous of my colleagues, and the results may not be precisely what the company was hoping for. So it may be that there will be, well, it inevitably will be, because their system will fail, because their idea that language is something that they can control, that they can digitalize somehow, that they can synthesize consciousness, is fallacious. And it's very evident in my profession, and I'm sure other people have noticed it. It's a different world. The 666-333 world is the world of the adversary, and we interface with it, but it's not the world of God. It's not the beautiful 12-based system that we had in this country, in Great Britain, which is a godly system, because the number 12 is divisible by 3 and 4 and 6 and 2. You see, it doesn't split into these hard fractions that give rein to restless spirits, something like that.